Welcome to the December issue of the Flatcar Office Hours. In the office hours, we share news from in and around the Flatcar project, and we give users a bit of space to connect to us and to bring themselves in, to present, and to ask questions. Our agenda is on the Flatcar/Flatcar discussion board. I'll share it in a second. I see a few folks who haven't joined before, a few new faces, and that's always awesome to have you folks. So I see Kai, Matthew, Sayan, and Dongsu from the Flatcar maintainers team. But then I see Adrian and Simon, who joined for the first time. I also see kind of an probably anonymous person joined called Leisure. So we'd like you, if you want to, we'd like you to briefly introduce yourselves. And after you introduce yourself, you name the next person to introduce themselves. Simon, why don't you start?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Simon. I work for DeepL, which is a software as a service machine translation company. And I'm on the DevOps team, and we run relatively large on-prem Kubernetes clusters and are currently thinking about migrating to Flatcar. So I just wanted to drop by. We really like what we see so far. We are very excited about it. But yeah, just wanted to get a sense of the people behind it, what you're working on, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then let's continue with Leisure, because it's such a nice name. If the person is here.
Leisure, you want to introduce yourself, or are you just here to listen in? Probably just a listener, which is fine. That's perfectly fine. Adrian, how about you?
Hello, I'm Adrian from Cloud-Based Solutions. I'm a cloud engineer, and we've been working with Flatcar for a while for the Kubernetes on bare metal and other Kubernetes work that we are doing. I've done a lot of, let's say, testing on Linux for the Microsoft Azure systems, and been here for a while in the Linux and OS world.
And I take it you're also a Flatcar contributor. We have a few PRs from you, most notably the recent one, which upgrades our kernel from 6.1 to 6.6. We aim to have it in the alpha release in January. If you want to share your experience and give a few details there, I think it would be highly appreciated.
Sure. On the Linux 6.1 to 6.6 upgrade, I have, let's say, split the work in multiple bits. One of it is in the Linux upstream, there has been a change of workflow on the makefile, which has impact on the Flatcar build or e-build definitions or scripts. So basically, I will have to work there. There was another alternative to basically revert some Linux patches, which is not the way to go. So that one, it has been discussed, and I have let's say, a clear path to do. The second one on the testing side on Mantle, the repository for the functional testing, uses a Docker image from IOVisor BCC, which basically does the all let's say BPF related or with BPF testing. And that one we've discussed recently, and the way to do it is to basically come up with a PR, with a GitHub workflow, to build our BCC, IOVisor BCC image and push it to a Flatcar registry, or the container, the images registry. And then there were a few issues with Linux config options that either got deprecated, either got replaced, and that thing works. So what I've done recently is rebuild the Flatcar images, and they worked really well, at least on my environment, and also on the GitHub Actions. but the BCC part, the Docker image needs to be updated.
Very awesome. Great work, and I'm happy to see this happening. It's a big chunk of work, and we're very glad that you're taking on that, Adrian. Great job.
Thank you.
All right, going through the agenda, we had a brief introduction, and I see two agenda items. The first is the presentation of our new Brightbox support, and the other is that we're starting a new YouTube channel. Let's go with the Brightbox intro. I think, Matthew, that was your initiative, right?
Yeah, but I'm alone today, so I was supposed to be joined by someone from Brightbox. He's not able to do it today, and he will certainly join in January. But I can, briefly announce what we wanted to say. The idea is that we have a new official supported provider called Brightbox, which is a UK-based cloud provider. And so it means that we run the full CI test on this cloud provider before each releases and in the nightlies. So it means it's well tested, and we are currently writing some documentation. So if you want to use it, if you want to try it on Brightbox and Flatcar, so feel free to give a try. And so that's it. What I can say, and let's hear more about this in January.
Awesome, thank you.
Maybe to add, it's using the OpenStack images, so that's great. We don't have to reinvent the wheel for each provider.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. It's great to see. It's also great to see that Brightbox actually sponsoring Flatcar testing on Brightbox infrastructure, so we can make sure not just that the releases work well, but also that the nightlies work, and that's amazing for the project. Thanks for that. All right, the second one is just a brief announcement. So we used to be streaming and hosting our office hours and the DevSync videos on the Kinfolk YouTube account. That will change in January. We are moving to our very own Flatcar Linux YouTube account. That's YouTube/@FlatcarLinux. And you'll find new videos there. We're still discussing with Kinfolk folks on the existing videos. It's not easy moving them. There's no feature for that in YouTube. And just downloading and re-uploading them runs into the risk of having the account flagged as a piracy account, which we definitely do not want. So we are still trying to find a good path forward there, but that's just details. You'll find the new videos there. The streaming links will basically work as expected, and so that's some infrastructure work that we've been doing. And that's, I guess, pretty much all from the Flatcar side for this office hours. Before we start the release planning, Simon, do you want to dive a little bit into what you're looking for in Flatcar and how we can best help and support you?
So I have to say we are currently at pretty early stages. So I've only, over the past month or so started to look into Flatcar details. So I'm quite new to everything. What attracted us to the distro is certainly the immutability and the relatively small footprint compared to what we currently run. We have been looking at the sysext capabilities quite a bit, so we'd like to make use of that as much as possible. At the moment, not many concrete questions. A small one, which is maybe, I don't know whether this is the right forum for it, but we noticed we currently have support for sysext, so overlaying on user and opt, but not for context. Is that correct? For overlaying on etc. I'm not entirely sure. I think Flatcar currently has system B252. I think context was added a little later. So I was just curious, am I missing something, or is it actually the case that context is currently not available, and in future Flatcar versions you might bump systemd and then it will be?
Besides the systemd update, we also need a mutable etc, so that's something not yet in systemd. So for that to happen, we need to make upstream contributions, to have a mutable overlay, and a way of providing our default files as well, because currently it's already an overlay mount where we have in the lower tier the etc defaults, and that should be then as convext in the end. So there's some work needed first to make it work at all, and then I guess even later on we would need improvements to. I mean, probably you want to have convex to kind of override the defaults, I guess. So currently that's kind of implicit by naming of the convex. So I guess maybe it's also nice to look into ways of making this a bit more clear.
Okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Thanks for clarifying.
So I mean, the use case for us for our overlays in etc is slightly different than what convex is doing. So convex basically allows you to bundle like a number of config files and then have them stacked and immutably provided under etc. We're currently using overlay mounts as more as an underlay, not as an overlay. So we ship basically distro defaults in, I think, USR, share, Flatcar, etc. And that is the underlay, that's a lower tier for our overlay mount on etc. And this way, we have image-based updates, right? So this way, when we update the distro, we can ship new files for services that have been added, for instance, and have them automatically merged into etc. And all of our users can actually override files that we ship by just putting creating the respective files in the writable etc overlay straight in etc. That is slightly different from how convex envisions things to work. However, we've discussed this kind of extension of the concept with upstream, and they're actually pretty happy to have us contribute to upstream and add support for mutability in the directory the convex is applying, and that's work that's ongoing. We're actually we're about to file a PR and to add that feature to systemd itself. And after those two kind of concerns are merged, in like any upcoming systemd version, we'll start using convex. So it's basically just missing this one feature for us. We're working on it, and as soon as it's integrated, we'll switch to convex.
Yeah, sounds great. And I mean, it's certainly not a blocker. There are ways to make changes to etc after all in Flatcar. It was just something I wondered about when I looked into it. Yeah.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. Good to discuss. All right. So if you want to collaborate and interact with the project, the metrics channel is the place to go. It's linked from the landing page in our Flatcar GitHub repo. So there's a Flatcar repo in the Flatcar org. That's where we do most of the organization stuff. It has our discussions. It has our main issue tracker. And on the landing page, you find links and references to mailing lists, to the metrics channel, and to the Slack channel. I think the lowest bar is the metrics channel because we always hang out there. So if you just want to, chat a bit, share your experience, just tune in there, and we'll be around and be able to help.
Cool. That's great to know. Thank you.
And I mean, we are honored, right, for a organization and a project like DeepL to even consider looking into Flatcar. That's amazing, and we're absolutely here to support you in that.
Thank you. That's really nice of you.
All right. Anything else from any of our guests to bring up and discuss? Cool. All right, that brings us to the release planning. Sayan, do you want to take over?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, let me share the screen. So the release planning would be short because we are towards the end of the year, and I'll just give an update on the release that is happening. So we are ongoing a release currently, which is a major stable and maintenance, a major alpha and a maintenance beta and stable. And we are primarily looking good on the release side, so expect a release tomorrow. We are seeing a couple of flaky tests. Most of them has passed, but we are hopeful to do the release tomorrow. It ships with a bunch of work that Tong Soo Kai, Matthew Kashmir has been working on, primarily around the URS and then the bright box support that Matthew talked about, and obviously the 6 exchanges. And given most of the folks are going on a holiday, so I raised this question. So we are canceling the next release, right? And we will resume the release from next year. Any questions on that?
Good job on keeping a low profile in the festive days. We really don't want our users and operators to have exciting festive days with Flatcar. Let's prevent that.
Yes. We hopefully can do like a major staple so that we ship a bunch of new features that we have been piling up for the last few months to the users. And yeah, maybe we can start the discussions on what we can ship for the next releases from next year. Till then, happy holidays, folks, from the releaser side.
Awesome. Thank you, folks. Any other comments, feedback, questions? All right, great. Then thank you all for joining, and have a great time. See you on Metrics.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.